timing. I had gotten a few screenshots on my Snapchat, so I decided to make this video for you guys. So I hope that you find this helpful. And again, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to leave them in the comments or email me, contact me anyway. So hopefully this helps. So you've probably heard about nutrient timing, carb timing, and you probably know like a little bit about it. So I'm gonna just tell you guys what I've learned and what has worked for me. So really learning your nutrient timing and learning your carb timing can really benefit muscle gain rather than fat gain. Not having the right nutrient timing can actually sabotage your efforts in the gym. And we're all about building muscle, limiting fat gain. So having these certain timings can really have a huge effect in the long run. So when you're weight training, it's important to plan a high carbohydrate meal when your body needs it. So my thing is 3 hours after I'm weight training. I weight train later in the day. So I plan bulk of my carbs after my workouts and a little bit before for pre-workout. The reason I do that is because at that point, after your workout, your body is ready to handle all those carbs. It needs those carbs in order to rebuild, in order to grow, in order to break down and again rebuild the muscles that you're trying to build. So having those carbohydrates after, either refined carbs or starchy carbs, is perfectly fine after your workout. So I don't know if you ever heard people tell you that you shouldn't eat refined carbs, they're so bad for you, they're in the long run going to be really, really bad for your health. And yeah, that's true. If you were to eat refined sugary carbs all the time, yes, it's not good for your health. You should be having starchy, whole grain carb sources. But those refined carbs are most optimal after your workouts. Again, that 3-hour window if you're weight training on a regular daily basis and really working hard in the gym. So you're eating these high amounts of carbs after your workouts, and the carbs actually have a protein sparing effect. So I would lower your protein a little bit and when your carbs are higher. So the carbs can absorb in your muscles. So again, lower the protein a little bit and raise the carbs when your body is ready for it. Let's say post-workout. Give yourself that 3-hour window. You don't need to like push people out of the way and run out of the gym. You can wait a couple of minutes. You can take your time driving home and get that post-workout meal. I like to give myself a full 3-hour window, and don't worry. So there's the myth that 30 to 45 minutes, it's absolutely untrue. They've shown different studies that shows a good 3-hour window is really most optimal, where your body does need those high carbs, and you'll be perfectly fine. So if you aren't weight training that day, if you have a sit-down job, if you're pretty sedentary, then you should lower your carbs that day or during the day that you're working, because your body is not needing them. People have it in their head that they need to eat carbs throughout the day to stay focused. That's really in your head. You do not need it. Your body does not need those carbs at that point in time. So I would lower your carbs if you're again sitting down, if you're not working out that day. So it will in turn improve on muscle gain and less of fat gain. Again, prioritizing your nutrient timing will put you in a state of improving on your muscle growth, muscle gains, as opposed to fat gains. So I want to talk about breakfast. If you're somebody who works at night like I do, then we'll be in this scenario. Everybody has it in their head that breakfast is the most important meal of the day, and I'm here to tell you that that's actually not the case. There was a study in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition paper that you actually do not need breakfast. They did a study, so people who did skip breakfast had actually increase of fat breakdown, increased release of the growth hormone, improved blood glucose control, improved on their cardiovascular function, and they overall decreased the amount of food they were eating per day. So don't be like all the others and saying like breakfast is the most important thing of the day. You have to have breakfast. you don't have to have breakfast. I don't really eat breakfast probably until like 11 o'clock or sometimes 10:30. I only eat when I'm really, really, really hungry. And it doesn't normally include a carb source. I usually increase my fats farthest from my workouts, so I'll eat a whole egg, some egg whites, almond butter, some bacon, everything like higher fats. And the fats and the lean proteins will keep you full longer. I don't need the carbs. I'm gonna time it, I know, around my workouts. So let's talk about different carb sources. There's fiber-rich carb sources. They make up your legumes, veggies, and fruits. These are carbs that are full of nutrients, and they can mainly be in almost any time of the day. Limiting on fruits, but mainly your veggies can be in any time of the day. I like to include them in mainly all of my meals to get my fiber intake, get all my nutrients that I need, and in the end that will really help with your digestive system and keep your colon cleansed. So that's super important to me, and I really try to include as many greens as possible. Now we have your starchy carbs. Starchy carbs are sweet potatoes, oatmeal, quinoa, amaranth, squashes. They are carbs that should be eaten again like right a little bit before your workout. Slow digesting carbs like the sweet potatoes and the oatmeal, so that way they give your body a chance to slowly digest in your muscles, so you're fueled for your workout, and then the bulk rest after. So those carbs are typically less nutrient dense as the vegetables, the fibrous carbs, but they offer amazing health benefits as well. And I would mainly like stick to your whole food sources if you can, and eat them within the 3-hour window after your workouts. Then we have your refined sugary carbs. Typically, they will increase our blood sugar levels, but they're great for after your workouts. They will accelerate and boost that recovery, and I recommend having them again like within the 3-hour window. So they are like your cookies, your cereals, let's say rice cakes, anything like fast digesting. And again, you don't need to avoid them completely and think I can't lose weight if I were to eat those carbs, because that's completely not the case. But again, thinking of your health, you just don't want to make them the most bulk part of your day, because you do want to get nutrients from the food you are eating and whole food sources. Try to limit processed foods and artificial stuff. I've vlogged about artificial flavors in the past. So again, like, we just want to keep our bodies nice and healthy, and after your workouts is when your body is going to utilize that the most effectively, and I would stick again after your workouts. So again, back to the breakfast, like later on in the day, I've realized my body really needs to eat 5 meals a day. I was eating 6, sometimes 7 meals a day, and I thought I had to eat like all these carbs, I had to constantly eat like all this food all the time, and I just was going basically off of what I was originally told. But now I'm going off of how my body feels, and I'm only really eating when I'm hungry. So I'm eating, like, let's say I go through a typical day. Like I told you, I eat my breakfast. That was my breakfast. And then I'll probably eat again at 2 o'clock. And that's usually my pre-workout meal. I usually have a sweet potato and ground turkey. And then my post-workout meal usually consists of ice cream and cereal and chicken. And then I'll eat like another meal after that. So it'll be like an hour and a half after that. And I'll eat another protein source with some rice or a wrap, a whole grain wrap. And then by dinner time, that'll be my 5th meal, and I'll eat I always eat my salmon salad and avocado. So that's my last meal and my first meal of the day are farthest from my workout, so they don't contain carbs in there. And when you go to sleep, you burn the most fat. So that will only happen when your insulin levels are low, and that hormone will only be released when your insulin levels are low. So if you're eating like a high carbohydrate meal before you go to bed, you're actually limiting your body's ability to burn the most fat in your sleep. Now, if you're training late at night, it's perfectly fine to eat that carb late at night. It's just that there has been studies showing that hormone will not be released throughout the night while you're sleeping if your insulin levels are too high. So people who are trying to lose an extreme amount of weight, I recommend lowering the carbs. Like if you're working out like midday, like around, let's say if you're working out like 4:36, by 9 o'clock, 9:30, you eat your dinner, you don't need to include a carb in there. So it's all about keeping your insulin levels stable, trying to prevent from being insulin resistant, and keeping in mind like your blood sugar level. So they should only be increased at certain points of the day, which is why I said again, post-workout. And if you're not working out, if you're not weight training, lower the carbs. Your body does not need it. We do not need to over time increase fat gain, because it will lead to that. If you are giving your body that excess amount of carbs that it doesn't need, they will not be put to good use if you're just sitting around all day, which is really fine. But just make sure that macronutrient is lowered at that point of the day. So I hope this really helps you guys. If you have any questions, do not hesitate to contact me anytime. I love to hear your feedback. I love to hear anything you guys have questions about all the time. So leave them in the comments and I will always answer them and get back to you. So again, just feel free to contact me anytime.